Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Mike Benitez. Today we're going to do another ship bios video. Today we're going to do a ship bios video on the sister ship of the German battleship Bismarck, and this ship was called the German battleship Tirpitz. Let's begin the story. Tirpitz was the sister ship of the legendary Bismarck, but after the Bismarck was sunk in 1941. The Germans made a few modifications to Tirpitz, making her 2,000 tons heavier than Bismarck, making her the largest battleship or warship ever to be built by a European navy. Tirpitz was named after Admiral Alfred von Tirpitz. Tirpitz was built to replace the Schleswig-Holstein, a pre-dreadnought of the German Navy. Tirpitz was built from 1936 to 1939 and was commissioned in February of 1941. Here we see her sliding down the slipway at her launch. Adolf Hitler attended this launch, even though I don't have any footage of the launch, so you pretty much just pretend that how it did in the Bismarck video. You can just see how special the ship was. Both Bismarck and Tirpitz were given an inspection by Adolf Hitler in early 1941, soon after Tirpitz's completion. At the start of the war, Tirpitz would be the flagship of a German squadron, but after they sank the Bismarck, the British had a new job. They had to sink her sister, Tirpitz. From 1941 to 1942, Admiral John Tovey had to watch Tirpitz every single move to make sure she would not break out into the North Atlantic like her sister Bismarck did. On the 28th of March, 1942, the St. Nazaire raid was begun. This raid was to prevent Tirpitz, especially the Tirpitz, from entering St. Nazaire for repairs. One of the ships involved in the raid was HMS Campbelltown. She will be used as an explosive. If her explosions would happen, this explosion would destroy the harbor. During the raid, Campbelltown was wedged into the dock gates, not allowing anyone to either leave the port. Soon after, she would explode. Some of her it wasn't until late in the evening that she would explode. The depth charges set on her exploded, and leaving the dock invulnerable to repair the Tirpitz. The Tirpitz had to be sent to Norway. And so, in late 1942, Tirpitz was camouflaged in the Fleiten fjord in Norway. For the next upcoming days and weeks, and including years, Tirpitz would be the target of numerous Royal Navy air attacks. Each would be a failure. And here we see Tirpitz being escorted by several destroyers steaming into the Bogen Fjord in October 1942. In October 1942, Operation Source was began. This mission was to neutralize Tirpitz and the battlecruisers Scharnhorst and Lutzow. This would be one of the failed attempts to neutralize the Tirpitz. During Operation Source, however, there was a break. Tirpitz had struck a mine and had to gone in for repairs. This would stop her from sinking any convoys, only for a few weeks or maybe months. Another operation was Operation Tuxen. This would also damage Tirpitz, but not destroy her or heavily damage her. And so it would be, month after month, year after year. Tirpitz would be attacked by several operations, like Operation Goodwill, and other such operations, but each would damage her. But in 1944, it all came to end for the Bismarck's younger sister. In 1944, Operation Catechism was born. It would be the final mission to sink the Tirpitz. Here we see Tirpitz moored in Calf Fjord, I think it's called. The smoke that you see here is an artificial fog generated to hide the ship. During the attack, the British airmen had to take guesses on when to strike their bombs. But since the bombs were so precious, they had to they didn't even drop them until they knew it was the right target. One of them had dropped a torpedo on guess luck. Another airman said that that Pacific bomb had hit the Tirpitz, but nobody believed him. In fact, it did. It hit Tirpitz right in her bow section and ran right past her and blew up right next to the ship. The force of the explosion being so large next to Tirpitz caused concussion that caused severe damage to the bow section of the ship. The Tirpitz was now vulnerable to air attack. This single bomb will be the fate of the Tirpitz. On the 12th of November, 1944, a squadron of 32 British Lancaster bombers were sent after Tirpitz. This would be Tirpitz's last attack. Bombs were coming all around, bombs hitting the Tirpitz in all directions. The only actual naval battle that the Tirpitz actually had was when she destroyed shore barriers near an island in Norway or France, I think. However, unlike her sister ship Bismarck, Tirpitz would never be able to sail into the North Atlantic and sink convoys. Actually, one of the forward turrets, Caesar, in the rotating gun turret, was blown clean off. This will be one of the fatal bombs of the Tirpitz. And so, on that day, in November of 1944, Tirpitz rolled over on her top. She looks like a mound in this picture. And here's another picture of the wreck of the Tirpitz. It is unknown how many people died, 1,000 or to 1,900. This would be the end of the Bismarck's younger sister Tirpitz. She had never even went into sea. She only had went into like small fjords or was camouflaged from other attacks. Salvage operations on Tirpitz began in 1948 and were completed by 1957. Here is one of the pictures of what remains of her. As Lidova Kennedy wrote in his history of the vessel, she lived an invalid's life and died a cripple's death. There you have it. Tirpitz, Bismarck's sister, was even more dangerous, even though she never went into sea. She only kept hiding away, and one day that would end her life. Thank you guys for hearing the story of the Tirpitz, Bismarck's sister ship. In the next video, we'll be talking about the German battlecruiser or battleship Scharnhorst. It amazes me that Tirpitz never actually began to see full service, but yeah. Thank you guys for enjoying this video. This is Mike Benitez, I meant by full service, I mean like as a convoy sinker. Thank you guys for enjoying this video. This is Mike Benitez signing out on the story of the Tirpitz, the sister ship of the German battleship Bismarck.